Hi everyone, I was chosen to do a Florida state case. The case I have chosen is PETA for Ethical Treatment of Animals versus Dade City's Wild Things. And it's presented by me, Alexis Speros, for St. Petersburg College of Veterinary Technology for class ATE 3515. Case information. People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, also known as PETA, is the plaintiff, and this is a non-governmental agency that deals with the welfare of animals, versus Dade City Wild Things, which is the defendant, and that is a zoo located in Dade City, Florida. And this took place in Tampa, Florida on November 1st, 2019. Order. For the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, moves for an order transferring two tigers, Luna and Remington, from Endangered Animal Rescue Sanctuary, Ears, to the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, also known as just Turpentine Creek. Neither Ears nor Turpentine Creek opposed the motion, but Catherine P. Stearns and Randall E. Stearns from Dade City Wild Things opposed the motion. And we will get into this later in the case. However, Dade City Wild Things were the original owners of these tigers. Background information. As we know, PETA is an animal welfare group. They wanted to investigate Dade City Wild Things due to their tiger encounters, such as cub feedings, where the public could bottle feed a newborn tiger. They also wanted to inspect the amount of tigers located at this zoo. This would ensure that they were being cared for properly and the encounters were not causing unnecessary stress to the cubs. PETA was granted the court order inspection. The Stearns at Dade City Wild Things were informed not to move any tigers. However, in July of 2017, they relocated 24 tigers, 4 of them being Luna, Remington, Rory, and Raja, to Ears, managed by Gail Bowen in Citra, Florida. Later, on October 8, 2019, PETA learned from a former Ears employee that earlier that year, Miss Bowen shot and killed Rory and Raja after they escaped from their enclosures at Ears. In Florida, exhibitors must immediately inform state authorities when a big cat escapes, due to the safety concerns of the tigers and the public. Ears failed to comply with this administrative code when Rory and Raja escaped from their enclosures, which ultimately led to the death of these two tigers. PETA's argument. PETA asserts that the donation and transfer of Luna and Remington is necessary to ensuring the continued safety to the tigers and the public, especially after the failed attempt at Ears, which cost Rory and Raja their lives. PETA claims that Dade City Wild Things relinquished any right to Luna and Remington when it donated them to Ears. Ironically, in November of 2017, Dade City Wild Things did not object to the transfer of 20 tigers at Winewood to the Wild Animal Sanctuary. They indicated that they no longer had any legal interest in these tigers and had no legal grounds to object to the transfer. Therefore, it could be argued that they have no legal grounds to object to this transfer. Before I go into Dade City's Wild Things argument, I want to bring up a term that I was not familiar with, and that is the legal term bailment. Under Florida law, bailment is defined as the delivery of property for some particular purpose or on mere deposit, upon a contract, expressed or implied, that after the purpose has been fulfilled, it shall be redelivered to the person who delivered it. This has a lot of legal jargon in it, and I found it kind of confusing. So the way I understood it was it's very similar to pawning. For example, you go to a pawn shop and pawn your jewelry, you're given a certain amount of money, and then when you're able to pay that back, you're able to get your property back. Now that we have an understanding of that legal term bailment, we can go into Dade City's Wild Things argument. They argue that the tigers were not transferred for any malicious reasons or to avoid court order inspections. Court order inspections. The escape of Rory and Raja, although unfortunate, is irrelevant to PETA's motion of transfer because it occurred nearly a year ago and was caused by unusual circumstances. Dade City Wild Things contends Luna and Remington are at ears on that term bailment and not as a donation. Thus, the donation and transfer of Luna and Remington to Turpentine Creek is unlawful and a violation of due process rights. They believe that they are still the legal owners of Luna and Remington, and PETA has no right to try and transfer them. The analysis. This is where we are going to get into the main points of this case, and later the court will determine whether Luna and Remington were on bailment. According to the official paperwork filed in July of 2017, Luna and Remington were marked as donations of Dade City's Wild Things, and not as exchanges or transfers to ears. Kenneth Stearns is listed as the seller or donor of the two tigers, and Ears is listed as the buyer or receiver of Luna and Remington. This paperwork would indicate that this was not on a bailment or transfer because they're listed as donations. Dade City Wild Things has also not compensated Ears or helped with any expenses for Luna and Remington during the 2.5 years they were at Ears. This is yet another indication that this is not bailment and that Dade City Wild Things does not have ownership. Why would these tigers be on bailment, but not the ones that were transferred from Winewood, where Dade City's Wild Things did not oppose? Finally, the manager of Ears, Miss Bowen, testified under oath that Kathy and Kenneth Stearns admitted that they donated Luna and Remington in order to avoid the court-ordered site inspections. In the case of People for Ethical Treatment of Animals versus Dade City's Wild Things, the court's decision is as following. The court ordered on November 1st, 2019, that PETA's motion for an order permitting the donation and transfer of Luna and Remington from Ears to Turpentine Creek is granted. The donation and transfer should occur without any delay. This decision was made despite multiple attempts by Dade City's Wild Things to stop the transfer and regain ownership rights of Luna and Remington. The order was made on November 1st, 2019 by United States Magistrate Judge Amanda Arnold Sanson. My position. In the case of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals versus Dade City's Wild Things, I support the court's decision to transfer Luna and Remington to Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge and stand by the facts of this case, and taking into consideration the well-being of the two tigers remaining in the care of Ears. The intention of the Stearns were to reduce their tiger population to hide from court-order inspections. They gave these tigers away to a place that blatantly disrespected protocols when dealing with these large cats. Hence why Rory and Raja lost their lives after being shot and killed for escaping poorly constructed enclosures. The authorities were never made aware of this, like they were supposed to be when predators like tigers escape, which is a huge safety risk for the public. Dade City Wild Things also harmed their own defense by saying that these tigers were on bailment. However, not even once did they make any effort to care for these tigers while they were in the custody of Ears. They gave up their legal rights to these tigers when they sent them away to look better in the eyes of an inspection. Even on official paperwork, they were listed as being donated. Bailment was never the case. I believe they didn't want PETA deciding where these tigers went because then they wouldn't be able to profit off of tiger encounters. I did research further into the zoo, and this was not the only legal allegation made towards them. According to a Tampa Bay Times article, they were ultimately banned from owning any tigers and were later forced to close in April of 2020. The remaining tigers were transferred to zoos that don't use these animals for attractions such as cub encounters. Alright guys, these are my references I used in this case. I do want to point out the very last one by T. McCandless. This is the Tampa Bay Times article I referenced in the previous slide. They go into a lot of detail about the zoo as a whole and what ultimately led them to close. So if you guys want to research more about it or learn more about this place, that's a great place to start. Thank you so much for your time, and let me know if you have any questions.